Welcome back to the Tosche Station podcast, the only podcast that offers its listeners free death sticks.
I love death sticks.
Isn't that right? Oh yeah, we have a new person here. If you want to introduce yourself.
What's up? What's up? My name is Seon. I'm from Los Angeles, California. Favorite Star Wars movie, Attack of the Clones. I'm gonna just put that out there right now. Attack of the Clones is my favorite Star Wars movie. I've been into Star Wars since I was literally in second grade because my second grade teacher taught everything using Star Wars, addition, subtraction, all that stuff. Everything was Star Wars. We watched episodes 4, 5, and 6 in class as second graders, and it was probably the greatest thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Beautiful. Alrighty. Well,
hey,
gentlemen, how have you been? I feel that. I feel that hard.
Yeah. Basically, yeah, it's just been.
It's been a semester.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, it's been. I just looked. It's been almost a month since we've posted last. So apologies. We're on different locations now, so it's harder. But
we're at school.
yeah, just school in general, life in general. But no, what I figured we could talk about is just quite a lot has happened since we've last talked. Some news about the High Republic, and as well as some other news. Lucasfilm announced the firing of Gina. I don't even know how you say her last name.
Carano.
Gina Carano. I think that's her last name. Yeah, Carano.
I think so.
A controversial one,
Carano,
obviously. Yeah. I guess we can just start with that if we want, boys. Want to offer? I'll go first, I guess. Do I think she should have been fired? Not really. I don't think so. But after looking into it more, it seems that she's been on the hot seat with Lucasfilm regarding some of her posts. She was very open about the whole lockdown mask mandate. She was very open just about politics in general, especially regarding the past election, and we're not going to dwell on that too much, but she was just very open, more than she probably should have been. Same with the whole, I think this is as well, when the whole putting your pronouns in your bio is kind of trendy. She posted I'm not going to say it, but she just posted some stupid stuff in her bio, kind of, I guess you could say it was poking fun. She claims it wasn't, but to me, I think if you don't have anything nice or smart to say, don't say it at all. But yeah, that eventually resulted in her being let go. Whoever wants to go next, you can.
So
yeah, Peter, you go.
So obviously, I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. I mean, first of all, the biggest thing is, for me, it's Star Wars. We don't need any more politics in it than we've had with Palpatine. I will take that Senate. You don't need to be bringing politics into Star Wars. You really don't. That's not what it was founded on. That's not what it's about. It's about bringing great characters to life on the screen, making you fall in love with them, and taking you on a journey with them. And I mean, that's something that the original trilogy and the prequels did just fine. There weren't any ham-fisted messages or, hey, here's a bunch of outside contributing factors. It was just, it's Star Wars. You're supposed to go in, and the purpose of it is to forget the real world for a little bit. You are literally in a galaxy far, far away. I loved her character in The Mandalorian. It's really refreshing to see strong, well-written female characters in Star Wars. And it's something that I know that the sequels just
struggled with.
Shove it down your throat. It was like shove it down your throat. But no, the way her character handled situations, held her own, kicked butt, she was a great character, and I'm really sad to see her go. But again, politics have no place in Star Wars.
Yeah. I mean, kind of going off of Peter's point there, I love the character. You know, I was really excited to maybe see her in, Rangers of the New Republic. But I mean, her tweet was so inappropriate, and I understand Lucasfilm's, desire to terminate her contract with them, but I really think that, we're going to miss out now, and it's just a shame that, and it kind of comes down to, there are so many cases of artists, especially musicians or athletes having, these kind of things happen to them where they, are accused of something, and then it comes down to, can we separate the artist from the art? Um, and I've always loved her character, always one of my favorite characters in the show, but also at the same time, I can't find myself to discredit, what she was saying in those tweets, because in my mind it crossed a line. um do I think she should have been fired? I'm not sure. I can't possibly make that decision as somebody who isn't representative of the Jewish faith. I can't speak for that group. Um but I do think what she said was out of line. um but and like Peter was saying, like, I watch Star Wars to escape from reality a bit, and like, people like to use their fame as kind of a soapbox to preach their views, and I'm a big believer in free speech. But I think that sometimes free speech can have the other side of the coin where it can hurt or offend people, and like, it was something as universally as accessible to Star Wars, like a film franchise that really goes across a lot of different demographics of our society. It's something that should be inclusive to everyone, and if her comments were going to make a certain group of people feel uncomfortable or unwelcome, then I see where LucasArts was coming from. um am I absolutely bummed that we won't get to see her in Mandalorian season 3 or some of the new shows? Yeah, but at the end of the day, I think they made the right decision for the fan base. Yeah, but
Yeah, no, I
I'm very
totally agree
bummed.
with that.
I'm very bummed. Um,
Yeah,
because,
it's
like, just
just
to see her go, fist to fist with the Mandalorian in her debut in Episode 4, the Sanctuary of the Mandalorian. Like, I was like, oh, I don't even know this character's name yet, but I really hope she's a continuing character, because
right.
she's a very strong female, like, character in Star Wars, and Star Wars has a rich history of really strong, well developed female characters, and she was going to be the exact opposite of, like, the stereotypical Disney damsel in distress, because debatably she could probably beat up Din Djarin. So I always liked her character. But we sometimes you have to separate your love for the character for the actress, and yeah. So
Um, yeah,
that's all I'm going to
I
say on
mean,
that. So
no, I like but the thing for me is like, yes, I don't think well, I think that she left Lucasfilms no choice but
yeah,
to fire her,
I agree.
because this wasn't the first time that she had tweeted something that was kind of brazy, and
Yeah,
um she has like a history of this stuff dating back since, oh, like the beginning of 2020 or something like that. She's deleted most of them, but some of them you can still find, I think. Um, and I disagree with I agree with Peter. Like, we can't be like, sure, art and media can be used as a criticism
mhm,
on on our modern world and politics and things like that, but it shouldn't be like hand in hand intertwined, at least for Star Wars, because that's not the
yeah,
purpose of Star Wars. The purpose of Star Wars is to tell great stories that people can relate to, and by people, like literally everyone, that everyone can relate to. um and dragging literal like election politics or race politics into that, aside from representation, and talking about representation and people who, or groups that should have characters that like represent them, is a little much for me. Like if you're it's one thing if you're saying, hey, we want more black characters in Star Wars, or hey, we want more characters or more Asian characters, or more Hispanic Latinx characters in Star Wars. But it's another thing to talk about um, genocide and equating it to having a certain political view. Those are just completely different things on the spectrum. I wish she hadn't done that. But again, she has a history of doing it, so I guess we would have seen this eventually. I just
And there were rumors too. Sorry to cut you off. There were rumors that she was going to get let go.
Yeah, because they've been trying to find something. They've been trying to find a way to get rid of her for months, I think.
And that I don't necessarily agree with being like, oh well, we got to find something somewhere. There's surely something, and then they're gonna like dig back all the way. But this is pretty new, so I mean, sorry to cut you off.
That's the thing. No, you're good. You're good. That's the thing. I think this was I won't say that I don't think they were gunning for her for months, but I think they were just waiting for something to happen, I guess, which is pretty sinister. But given her past behavior, it makes sense. I mean, I just don't.
So
it's
with
a
that,
shame. It's a real
yeah, of course. With this though, I look at it and I say, what are we doing here? Are we gonna play it even now? Like with of course I'm very upset that we're not gonna see her again, and I'm not saying that she didn't warrant to be fired. I think that she definitely had it coming. It sucks, but what are we doing now? Like, are we gonna is this what we're gonna do with every celebrity in the history of ever now? Because we're seeing it with celebrities and just people in general who put their certain ideologies out there, and it's like, okay, well, we're gonna have to let them go, or we're gonna have to fire them, and it's just, can we just do we really need to be doing that? Like, I don't really see what they're gaining from firing her. I really don't. And I don't think it's necessarily Lucasfilm themselves. I think it's the shareholders. I think it's everybody who's invested in the company more than anything, really. And I think Lucasfilm is just kind of tied down here.
Yeah. I mean, they made, and we also have to think that, like, they're part of the Disney conglomerate, and, there's a degree that also comes from Disney being like, hey, this can't be the message coming from our company, since Disney literally has their finger in everything these days, which is another thing we could talk about in one of these episodes is, the direction of like Disney and Star Wars and what it means for the future of the franchise. But yeah.
And I think it's very disappointing when you see somewhat of a double standard, or they'll say these things, but then they'll go do, other stuff behind the back when it comes to how they treated Finn and how they treated, just him as a person.
Finn deserved better.
And just even representation, like with his character, like they just take you've seen that on the other country where they just take his character right off the poster, and it's like, okay, that's not the representation you want to fight for.
They're bowing out to China because China doesn't want to see any of that, and it's such an influencing power that it's like,
exactly.
No, we have to like their corporate gods.
China is not about black people like that. I don't know if they got rid of him in the Chinese cut of the movie, but China is not about black people like that.
No. One of the things they cut,
he just said Rey way less than he did in the original movie.
The Rise of Skywalker, one of the scenes they actually cut in China is, at the end when everything's finished and they're all celebrating back on whatever planet they're on.
Yeah.
And like Rey comes back and meets Finn and Poe. Really like touching hug. There's a scene where one of Leia's like generals goes over and kisses her wife or girlfriend.
The
pilot comes back, and China cut that scene from the movie.
So that's serious? where I have an issue, where it's like, okay, Disney, you're gonna fire so and so, but you're gonna that's where I have the issue.
You're gonna film live action Mulan within 15 miles of the internment camps.
Yeah.
My goodness, and yeah.
But then you're gonna say you're against discrimination.
Disney.
Have you guys also seen the Kathleen Kennedy video for the Oscars?
No.
Don't say that name here.
No,
I don't. Kathleen Kennedy can see my hands any day. Like,
I'm seriously. straight up, if you watch her video, it is so cringe because she's talking about the fact that we can't wait to see more women breaking through and doing great things. Like, you literally just fired one of your best female representations in your show.
Like, if she had more screen time and she had her other shows that she was gonna be up there with Leia, with Ahsoka. She was arguably already up there with like Ahsoka and Padme, but she could have been like the cream de la crop, as you will. She could have been up like there, but no.
See, the thing is, Disney, they pick and choose what to react to and what to react about. Like, they basically ignore the fan base when it comes to Finn, and like trying to, and because everyone's like, yo, y'all need to give him a series, or y'all need to give him something to make up for the fact that you literally assassinated his character at every turn. Same thing with Rose Tico.
I agree. Rose had so much potential to be a great character,
right?
And she was just so poorly written. And it's like, we know that Star Wars can write effectively female roles because, like, in the prequels alone, there are so many dynamic female characters. Like Luminara in the Clone Wars is awesome.
Luminara is amazing. Ahsoka had a fantastic character arc.
I would 100% watch a show
even
that's
Ventress.
Just like Ayla Secura.
Even in content that hasn't been written
an
yet.
Asajj Ventress show, whoever just said that is a great idea. Like her and Quinlan Vos going off, like, and getting to see like that relationship and them kind of on the run. Dude, I would watch that 100,000 times.
No, but
I would also love to see like a I think like you said, Nick, like a Barris show, like a Barris Offie.
Yo, that would actually be sick.
Love to see that, because how did she get so jaded?
Well, yeah, how you see from like where like starts with her and Ahsoka on the Geonosis episode with the worms, the mind control worms. Start from there and then go up until she has that whole arc at the end of the near end of the Clone Wars. I think that would be
I want to know how she got that. That jaded.
But even in content that hasn't been sorry. Even
you keep going.
Even in content that hasn't been written yet, like for the Old Republic, like Satele Shan, like if you casted a good actress, that would be a great female character. Like, there's so much content and there's just so much they can do, but they just choose to be woke and think that that's more important than writing a good story and making content that people want.
So real quick update. I sent you guys in general. I sent the Kathleen Kennedy video. I would like to point out that like when it first came out, it got ratioed so hard in terms of dislikes. The like and dislike numbers are gone.
I was gonna say they probably turned it off.
And the comments are turned off. It's been out for a week. So if that doesn't tell you everything you need to know about that,
if that doesn't tell you that Disney doesn't give a shit about your opinions, then they're just going to be pushing out this garbage.
I don't. Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like, Disney chooses to react instead of be proactive about things. And they pick and choose too. Like, no, they're not going to stand up for internment camps in China, but they're gonna fire Gina over some comments that she made.
That everybody is guilty to tweeting or saying dumb things. Like,
I mean, obviously,
again, it's not excusing what she did.
No,
it's not excusing what she said. But like, if you're gonna be consistent.
I agree.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I mean, when you're in a position like that, you obviously need to watch what you're saying. Like obviously, but like with like the celebrity status comes like an increased attention to what you post and what you say. But I have another quick gripe I want to throw out to you guys and get your thoughts on.
For sure.
What are your guys' thoughts on the fact that we've lost Gina Carano, but Rian Johnson is still getting his trilogy?
Don't say that name.
Oh, I remember you.
I think that's gonna. There's two scenarios. One, the series ends up being okay, not good, not bad. It could be decent and okay. Number two, it could absolutely suck. It could suck so bad, and that's when it's gonna be the sequels all over again.
I agree.
I honestly do not have high hopes for Rian Johnson after what he did. I personally think it's going to be absolute dog water. But at the same time, the Force has a way of working in mysterious ways. He could
Darth
really,
Johnson right now. What is this?
yeah, he could really pull it out. There's an opportunity to pull it out. I want him to recast John Boyega, but I know he won't do that, so I'm gonna just stop talking about that. Do we even know what this trilogy is about?
If we could just give Rian Johnson, put him in a room alone with like 2 other writers, and just give him like some of the gnarliest death sticks that you could find on the market, and just let him go crazy and write whatever he wants. It's about to be some Star Trek type crap.
No, that's the thing with Rian Johnson that like really angers me is the fact that he admitted that he doesn't know anything about Star Wars when they tapped him to The Last Jedi. But he's also tweeted out. He's also constantly tweeting and defending it. And he put out a tweet that was like, and I think I sent this to you guys in our Instagram chat, but it was there's a tweet where he's like, I believe that everything Luke says in The Last Jedi
is 100% consistent with canon. And it's like, are you smoking crack?
And I'm seeing people defending this Luke. Like, I'm seeing it all over the place.
He didn't think he did anything wrong.
Bro, like, honestly, the fact that he thinks that Luke is based off of what Luke's character arc would be clearly does not show any understanding of Luke Skywalker. And like, this was the man who literally threw away his lightsaber and took forced lightning to the face and the chest just to redeem his father. He literally said he threw away his lightsaber and said, I'm a Jedi like my father before me, and got toasted. And like refused to strike down his father. Like Luke Skywalker is the epitome of the eternal optimist. Like, you can't, like, sure, if we saw some backstory as to why and how he got jaded, then sure, it would work. But you literally just threw it at us with no context, and he's just like, oh, I felt a taint of the dark side from my nephew.
If they did it to where the death of his friends, like Han and Leia, like, say they died before we even see this new version of Luke, then okay, that could be a reason why he acted the way he did. But
he cut himself off of the Force.
The thing that I'm seeing is they're comparing this Luke to being like, well, if you look in Return of the Jedi, which I did watch like a few days ago, you see that when he's fighting Vader, he's literally whacking and just absolutely destroying him, and he wants to kill him, and you can see it in his eyes. And it's like, okay, but he controlled himself. Back. He pulled back. He resisted.
Like, literally the next scene, he throws his lightsaber away. I am a Jedi like my father before me.
That does show that he's still struggling, but at the same time, it shows he has control.
I think a lot of that has to do with the way the original script was going to go for Return of the Jedi, because Luke was supposed to turn to the dark side in George's original script.
Yeah.
And the writers were like, nah, man.
How was it going to end?
Like, it was going to be him killing Vader and becoming the Emperor's new apprentice.
What? Wait, George Lucas wanted that?
That was George's original take. It was just the dark side was too strong. And his writers were like, bro, we need a happy ending for this movie. He goes, fine. But he wanted Luke to fall.
Back then, it was nothing but happy endings in movies. Sorry.
Yeah, this is why I love George, but I'm not sure if I actually trust him.
No.
But no, you could see that in some of the prequel movies.
It
just you just question everything. Like, and the remakes. The remakes of the originals, like the remake of episode, like where they just added whatever into, oh my god, I don't even.
What do you mean remake? Are you talking about like the fact that The Force Awakens was A New Hope?
No, like the remakes, like, you know how they kept like selling different versions of like the original movies like on DVD, and you get like bonus footage and stuff like that. Yeah. And then they put like remember that one scene in, I think it was in Jabba's palace, like the opening few scenes, and then they have like all the dancing weird alien looking things, and they added all that extra bullshit, and it was just like people are just like, what are you doing, George?
Well, I mean, some of the effects are much better than they were in the 70s. Like I'm thinking of like when you look at If you guys look, have you guys seen what the original Jabba the Hutt looked like?
Yes.
Yeah,
With
it's
CGI?
terrifying.
I have not.
Oh,
Oh,
I'll drop a picture. I will drop a picture right now.
It's
You
that
got it?
bad.
Oh,
Is it
dude, it's
bad?
awful. The
Oh,
CGI
boy.
didn't look great, but it is much better than what the original costume looked like.
I know what
Oh,
we can
boy.
talk about. I have another topic in a second, so let me just pull this up.
For sure.
But just real quick to wrap up the Rian Johnson thing. When it comes to directors, there are in Star Wars, there are no two people I have less faith in than Rian Johnson and what's the other director? See, I can't stand it.
Abrams.
Abrams.
Yeah.
But it's like, but that's the thing.
J.J.
Is like,
Abrams needs to stay away from Star Wars.
No, if he had full control of the sequels, I think it would have been okay. I don't think it would have been amazing, but I think it would have been better than what we got. I think it would have been okay.
But the thing is, if he had kept bringing back Palpatine.
Well, he
That was
had
just
to.
the biggest
He had
cop-out,
nowhere to
like-
go with after Episode 8. They had to scrap and do what they could.
Episode 9 was legitimately just like, hey, how can we retcon everything that happened in Episode 8?
Yeah.
Bro,
Did you not hear about the dispute that JJ got in between with Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm, where he was trying to come up with ideas and they kept shutting them down? This was in the middle of like a meeting, and JJ just stormed out and said, well, "Why don't you put on like at the end credits, directed and written by Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy?" Like he was upset. Like
Yeah,
it's not his fault.
Yeah, he wanted it different. Because I mean, how many times
for episode 8 or for 9? My bad.
What was that?
Yeah. For 9.
That was his reaction. Yeah, after trying to come up with, they were doing mini screenings like for like VIPs and like people like the company only screenings.
Yeah.
And he would watch it and he would laugh at what they were showing because they'd cut out all of his stuff, and he'd be like, "Well, why don't you put on it written and directed by Lucasfilm?" Because he was just so pissed off.
Honestly, like that gives me a little more faith in him.
We're gonna get like 4 years from now, like they're doing now with the DCEU with the Snyder Cut. We're gonna get like the JJ cut or something, like 5 years down the line. Like that's gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, but why are movies going to turn into like video games in terms of, yo, we're gonna release a half-finished product and then we'll sell the rest to you as DLC?
Oh my god!
Basically,
that's legit what the movie industry is becoming. I'm like, no, the gaming industry shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be copying it. My last thoughts on it real quick before I know David, you just said you had another topic, but my last thoughts on it, I have to say, are the fact that so everyone's putting so much faith in Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni to resurrect everything. But what makes me very nervous about that is that it feels like they're putting too much faith in them, and the fans won't settle for anything less than Filoni and Favreau. And I'm like, you guys are gonna burn them out.
Yeah.
Favreau was doing a lot with Marvel, and now you want him to just jump in with Star Wars. It's like you're gonna burn them out, and they're gonna start putting out like worse quality stuff because you're rushing them. You're putting all the pressure on them. And we need to see new directors step forward. And I know they've done a really good job with that with The Mandalorian. But we need to see some new directors because I don't want to see Filoni and Favreau get tired of working on something they love.
Agreed.
Definitely agree with that as well. But going off, I was originally just going to talk about how the High Republic and I think how much of a fail it's going to be. But when we were talking about episode 6, I just instantly remembered the Book of Boba Fett. I'm beyond excited. I just wanted to say that real quick. Like after, seeing his return and the way it happened, I'm just beyond excited to see what possibilities they could do with him, being the ruler of the new underworld, and I just think it's going to be so cool. Like it's going to be crazy. I don't know what you guys think of it. I don't know what you guys think of Boba Fett as a character. I definitely like him.
He's my favorite bounty hunter.
I'm glad that they resurrected him.
Yes, definitely.
Well, it's just like, it's like he was a character that had like a cult following for 40 years. Like he had more screen time in the fight in his debut in The Mandalorian than he did in the entire original trilogy.
That's the thing.
He
We
also
didn't really
had-
see much
yeah.
of him in the original trilogy. We saw like most of him was probably in episode 5?
6.
The most
5
of
or
him?
6.
When we saw the most of him, though, I think that was episode 5.
Most of them. Oh well,
I'd
then.
say 6 because
I mean,
he
yeah,
was
I think it was
the
5 then.
entire-
Yeah, it was 5 because they
They showed. That's when they first showed his ship. That's when he
Yep.
came, like he was with Vader several times.
Yeah, I don't know,
that
but
was a-
6 he actually fought.
Yeah, 6
And
is
he
when you
had,
really
like,
saw
the
him.
Jabba Palace.
Have you seen that
Yeah.
theory though as to why Vader keeps Boba or was keeping Boba around?
Yeah, because he
because
just
it
wants
reminds
to
him of
hear the
Rex.
clone voice.
Jesus.
That's like my favorite piece
That's
of headcanon.
so dark.
That's so,
I love it.
That's just depressing though.
It's
I think
so
my
dark.
My favorite Boba headcanon is the fact that the reason he went down like a chump in episode 6 was because he was absolutely sloshed on Jabba's party barge.
Yeah.
He was
I believe
drunk in a skunk and
They were all
because
they were all drunk.
God. But yeah, but that's the thing is because he was drunk. That's why. Because fans are always like, "Oh, he's such an elite bounty hunter, but he went down really easily." He was also plastered.
Yeah, he must have been plastered because there's no way that a guy with the reputation that Boba Fett has is gonna get knocked off.
100%.
By a literal blind Han Solo.
Literally.
And you go,
How awkward would that have been if Boba was with the Mando crew when Luke showed up?
Oh, that would have been so awkward.
That'd have been really awkward.
Do you think they could do something as to where like they meet, or probably not? Like in the Book of Boba, or probably not? You don't think they're gonna do any more Luke stuff?
No, they're gonna have to. The thing they may not bring him back bring Luke back in terms of like a major role, but Luke is gonna show up again because when Luke Skywalker pulled up in the Mandalorian, like when we saw that singular X-wing and we knew what was about to go down, like that was probably the greatest Star Wars moment of the past decade.
Oh, easily.
Like it was utterly
it was everything
phenomenal.
we had always wanted to see. Like we got to see like a live action rendition of Luke in his prime.
Like it almost tops Vader like turning good, if I'm being honest. That's
Honestly,
a hot take, but
I would say it's like
That's
I just love how the two greatest Star Wars moments for me over the past decade were Vader's Rogue One scene in the
I
hallway
forgot about. Oh my god.
and
Like
Luke's
Father
hallway
Like
scene.
Son.
So what's with the Skywalker boys in hallways? It's just
Like
great,
Father likes it's like
great
Daredevil
media.
in hallways, man. You can't beat him in a hallway.
They train in hallways, I guess. I don't know. They're good in tight spaces.
Like Father like pause. Like Father like Son.
Yeah.
Man, but no, I definitely think they should, if they're gonna do some sort of Luke spin-off or Luke mini-series, Sebastian Stan has been,
I was about to say, yeah, Sebastian Stan got the blessing of Mark Hamill.
I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like the only way they could do that is if they just retcon the sequels
But
entirely.
like, for me, he's like
We know they're never gonna
No.
do that.
I don't know. That's just where I'm at with that. I hope they do something, but other than that, I can't wait. And we got the Kenobi series too. What's his name? Ewan McGregor just started filming, and I've seen pictures. Oh my god!
Boys,
the second I saw
he
him
looks-
regrowing his beard, I was excited.
He looks gorgeous.
I was
we're
like,
getting
what a
Hayden
man.
Christensen back too, boys.
what was
Yeah,
that?
I know. Oh god.
Christensen back too.
I'm curious as to why they're bringing him back. I think they're just gonna use him for like live action Clone Wars flashbacks. I really don't know unless they use him with being in the Bacta tank. Like I don't know what they're gonna do with him. Maybe just so because he wants to probably be in the suit and feel all nostalgic and be like, no, I want to be in the suit. Like I don't know why they're bringing him.
Yeah,
Like,
Maybe they will do.
Christensen as
Look,
Vader.
regardless of why they're bringing him back, like I'm here for it.
Oh, I'm
They
not
gave him
saying I'm
such a-
not. No, I'm not saying I'm not here for it. I'm definitely
They
here
gave him a
for it.
raw
I'm just
deal.
curious.
I think I know we're gonna enjoy it, whatever it is. Like honestly, live action Clone Wars flashbacks would be phenomenal. But it would also give us a chance to see like things that Anakin and Obi-Wan did that weren't in the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I mean, the
mean,
Clone
like-
Wars covered a lot.
I really.
But also,
yeah.
we have a 10-year span between episodes 2,
What was that?
like content. You know,
Oh.
the
You
really
cut out.
Anakin's training gap. Oh, sorry about that. But what I was kind of talking about, like, I would love to see some flashbacks in the Kenobi series of like Anakin's training and like back when, in the 10 years between, when we see
1
them
and 2.
on, between like, well, 2 and 3. Or no, you're right.
No, 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Sorry.
Because we were talking about that the other day, Nick, is the fact that it's like we have so much content between episodes 2 and 3 and 3 and 4, but there is nothing. Like, I would also love to see, like a show or something where it's young Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon and their adventure together.
I'd love. They had a book series in Legends about that. It was fantastic.
But that's the thing; it's Legends. Like, I want to see it like canon.
I also just don't understand what Kathleen Kennedy has against like all of the Legend stuff. Like,
I don't know why
she's like, oh my god, we have no content to make films and TV shows about, and it's like, yes, you do, but you guys just don't like it because you guys don't own the rights to it. Like
the fact that they were able to, we see what happens when they bring in Legend stuff. Thrawn knocked it out of the park. Are you kidding me? Literally, the best part of Rebels was Grand Admiral Thrawn.
Yeah. Well, it was just like so.
Still need to watch Rebels.
A competent Imperial in that show, because like the Imperials in that show were just cartoony. Like, but then to see like Thrawn, who's a well-written villain, like.
Rebels until season 3 was a certified kid show.
I mean, so was Clone Wars. Like
that, yes, but
then Clone Wars also had
so much more source material.
Hey, kids, want to commit some war crimes? Like,
Clone Wars is literally like, who can get away with more war crimes in a shorter amount of time?
Yes.
Pretty much what it was. But no, one thing I want to see too is, I don't know if you guys have read the Vader comics, but I hope we get some like flashbacks or some like nightmares that Obi-Wan has, or some PTSD moments, because there's one where Obi-Wan's dreaming and he's having the same visions of fighting Anakin on Mustafar, but this time it's actually Vader, like in his suit, who comes out of the lava. He says that they say the same, lines and everything like that. But Vader just force chokes him and starts like throwing him into the ground and then just yeets him into the lava.
No, David, that's Vader having the dream, and he legit just hurls lava at Obi-Wan at one point. That's Vader's having the dream and reliving that and wondering how it would have been another time.
Force lava.
I thought that was okay. I thought that was Obi-Wan having the nightmare or something.
No, it was Anakin. It was Vader. But
well, screw me then. I hope we see something like that for sure.
I would love to see more explanation of the Sith, like the Darth Momin in the Vader series, David.
Yeah, that would be sick.
He has so much
yes. For sure. And I'd also love to see that scene in the comics where Palpatine's throwing out all the lightsabers and he throws out Yoda's. Like, I don't know if you guys have seen that scene.
That's a lot.
Oh, so he did manage to grab you.
Yes, he grabbed it and he was like, this belonged to Grandmaster Yoda, blah, blah, blah. And he was like shit-talking him and he just threw it into the lava. But, no, I'd like to see that or something like that. I want to see how just more Sith shows or more Sith content. And I know we're getting that with that upcoming show or movie.
The Acolyte.
Yeah.
But the Acolyte's not going to be good.
You really don't think so?
I just think it has a lot of potential, but by basing it in the end of the High Republic, they're just like, imagine doing a show about like the High Sith Empire, like back when there was the Dark Council, like back when the Sith were really like.
So you want Old Republic?
But why don't they acknowledge the Old Republic? I don't understand that.
They do, but they just I don't know. I don't like they canonized certain people and thought that would be enough, but all it did was basically remind people, not even remind, but like point at the Old Republic like, hey, this exists still, and we're just like, okay, then
I'm pretty sure I said this in the group chat, but I said, what's the point of saying something's canon if you're not going to make content on it? I think I said that in the group chat. If you're going to say it's canon but not acknowledge it's there, then just don't even make it canon.
And it's like they literally only brought like a lot of those Sith into canon because they needed to name the Exegol fleet. So it was like,
yeah, they needed to name
like the Legion of Revan and stuff like that. Yeah, like I was like, okay, this is cool, I guess, but like Now, to what degree is Revan canon? Because like you could do an entire saga just about Revan. Like you could do 9 episodes just about Revan. Like in the same way they had it about like like the Skywalker saga.
Like
you could do a Revan saga.
The sequels are really about Kylo Ren, as he had the most character development of any of the characters, and his character development was still pretty shitty. So,
yeah,
I mean,
it's so unfortunate because I like the thing that made me most mad about the sequels, is that like I was okay with Snoke being the main bad guy, right? I was completely fine with it. I'm like, okay, we have a new bad guy, great. This is some kind of new threat, Everything up until episode 6 is still, the continuity still works. Anakin's sacrifice was not in vain. Then we get to episode 9, and we get somehow Palpatine has returned. Literally a line from the movie.
And you know how you find out? You want to know how you Fortnite.
Oh my god.
Are you kidding?
That was how
Fortnite.
It was in like one of the ads.
Gonna get some dubs in Fortnite.
The whole thing.
You're telling me that Fortnite...
You needed to buy the novelization of Rise of Skywalker to understand that her father was a clone.
Wait, Rey's father was a clone?
Rey's father was a quote-unquote failed Palpatine clone.
So is that... Wait, hold on. So that episode where they go to that... in Mandalorian, where they go to... I know we're jumping all over the place. Where they go to that
the episode,
lab. Is that... Are those...
Season 2, episode 5.
Are those... Rey's
I always interpreted
Palpatine clones.
I always interpreted those as basically like the way I think it is it's like obviously they had to make like Force sensitive like body casts like Snoke. I always took it as those are like they needed Baby Yoda's blood to try to make Snokes. You know what I mean?
Because The Mandalorian is obviously going to explain what happens, like why the sequels happen the way they did.
I just took it to mean that Gideon just wants to be Force sensitive, I guess.
He's this crazy terrorist who's...
I don't want to link the Mandalorian to the garbage that
it's gonna happen. We're gonna cross that bridge at some point, and you're gonna have to slosh through all that garbage. So
look, I can believe what I want at this point. I know it's probably gonna happen, but I can choose to keep them separately in my mind currently. But I just thought that it was just like, oh, Gideon wants to be Force sensitive because the Force and reasons. And
I mean, wouldn't you want to be Force sensitive if you found out it was possible?
Dude, I wouldn't have to like walk to get my remote anymore. I could just...
That's the one thing. That's the first thing you think. I don't have to get my remote. I could just... No, I'd be doing a whole bunch of shit. I could learn to Force heal. I could... You don't even have to learn to Force heal. You can just do it, right? According to the sequels.
Apparently.
According
the thing is,
you can just shoot Fort Lightning out of your ass if you're cool enough.
No, you have to be a Palpatine, though. Remember that, right?
Yeah, because
like the most like hard to learn, like one of the most dynamic powers, and they just made it a genetic trait.
Unpopular opinion. I thought that was really cool, though. Like, I like that.
I thought that the way they implemented it was really cool because it was just a complete accident and it came out of nowhere and everyone's like, oh my god, what?
It kind of blew. It did blow my mind the first time I saw it.
It blew Kylo's mind. I mean, Kylo was even like, oh shit.
Kylo was like, yo, I shouldn't piss this girl off.
And not only that, it would have made a bigger impact if Chewie actually died.
No, what would have made
it? If Chewie had died, I would have rioted.
No, Chewie could not have died.
No,
Chewie could not have died.
They'd already killed off 3 of the 3 main people, so killing off Chewie.
It would have made that scene more impactful.
But that's the thing.
But it would have eliminated the fan base entirely.
The biggest issue with that scene is she blows it up, which I have so many issues with, but whatever. But what happens next is she can't tell there's a second transport and that Chewie's still alive, right?
Yeah.
When they're on Kijimi, she looks up at Kylo's ship and goes, oh my god, Chewie's alive. So she can feel it when she's on the planet and the spaceship is out of the atmosphere, but she can't tell when he's on a transport 10 feet away. and they did nothing.
See,
to
the
Disney,
thing with that, the thing with that is, I think that her emotions were getting in the way of her ability to sense properly, because that like I
and we've seen that before.
Emotions have a lot to do with the Force. Like, that's literally the entire basis of the dark side. Your emotions take control, your emotions getting the best of you, etc., etc. So I think that her emotions were clouding her perspective and her vision, at least in that regard. So I'm willing. I can forgive that. I can look past that.
And we see that in, I think we see it in Empire too, with Luke and his emotions about Han and Leia and how he thinks they're gonna die if he doesn't go save them. And we see him fight, that Vader clone or whatever that was, and he sees himself. So I personally think that that's, that whole scene was justified, but I still stand by that scene really didn't mean anything emotionally because nothing happened. Chewie was okay.
It was a shock. It was a shock value. It was a shock value scene.
Also, they don't know how lightsabers work. They also don't know how the Force works. You can't just force Skype, can you?
Like, see, the thing is, this is why they can force Skype. Okay, they are a dyad in the Force.
But also didn't
lazy writing.
Palpatine yes, was like, I've been the one connecting you, and it's like, what? Like, so then
he said that. Yeah, no. Anyways, going back to I know this episode just turned into a rant about the sequels, but it's fun. You see, I don't really care. No, do you agree with that though? That whole Force Skyping thing? Like, do you think that should happen, or do you think that should be something that can't happen unless you're like a certain grandmaster and you have these certain abilities?
No, I think it's cool, but I just think the way that it was implemented was horrible.
I agree. I was like, why are you introducing this as a Force power? I
think that if it had been implemented in a different way,
it would make sense. If
in canon it makes sense, but also the fact that we suddenly get a new apparently it's a very, very core part of the lore of the Sith Eternal, and but we don't know, it just comes out of nowhere. Suddenly for some reason there's a new order of the Sith, and they've been waiting for years and years and millennia for this Force dyad to appear, and
everything had to fall perfectly into place, like what had to happen in the first place for Palpatine to overthrow the Jedi and create a fake war. But going back to that Force Skype, Uvu, FaceTime, whatever you want to call it, if it happened,
say Uvu, dude?
Yeah,
I haven't heard of Uvu since 2011.
It just popped into my mind. I'm just thinking of every face or every online chat possible. Force Omegle, I don't know.
Oh my god, Omegle.
If Master Windu Force or Omegle. Grandmaster Yoda could do it, and we've seen it before, then be like, okay, they're very powerful in the Force. They're very in tune with the Force. It makes sense. But they just kind of threw it in there like it was just, hey.
No, and
they were able to teleport physical objects through the Force.
He grabbed, when he grabbed the necklace too.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
And so they literally Force mailed the lightsaber to Kylo.
Force Amazon. Force
Amazon.
Amazon Prime. You got Prime? You don't got Prime? No.
Master Bezos.
But that was a mess. I thought it was funny too. They also just destroy Vader's mask like it's nothing. Can you tell me why?
I just wanted to.
I always took it as it was kind of destroyed because of the funeral pyre in the end of 6. But
they. Also, you mean when it shattered?
Yeah, when they shattered into smithereens.
It didn't shatter. They shattered the stand it was on.
Yeah.
The helmet was intact. It landed on Kajimi.
But didn't they blow up Kajimi?
Yes, they did.
So it's gone.
Then it's gone.
You know what they should have done that? So you know what that should have made Anakin's Force Ghost feel something and be like, oh god, something's happening. Let me go have a therapy session with freaking Kylo Ren and try to turn him. But no. Kylo's gonna, as Peter said before, I think he said it before on the podcast, Kylo's gonna forgive himself.
Yeah, that's exactly what that scene is after on the Death Star. It's literally like the whole thing with Han pops back up, and it's like, and they do the whole reenactment from the first one. It's legitimately because Han's not a Force ghost, so it is legitimately Kylo's memory of the event, and he is forgiving himself for all of his atrocities. And I don't care what you say, that is the laziest writing I have ever seen it to make someone good. This man in the first episode was going to torture Chewie, in the first minutes of the movie was going to torture Chewie.
He already tortured a planet.
He was killing innocents in order to get a freaking Wayfinder, and he's not a good person. He's not. But they were like, we need to make him good. We need redemption. He goes, oh, what if he forgives himself? That
that's so nice.
That doesn't mean dick to any of the other parties involved.
I would have rather, with the way his character was at episode 9, I would have rather have him, like they did it too with this other rumored, what was the name of that? The old script they had, Duel of the Fates, where all the Jedi are talking to him and trying to turn him, but he's just unturnable. I would have loved to see Anakin Skywalker try to convince him, and then him just be like, no, I am not, this is who I am, screw off. And then we see a final battle between Rey and Kylo and Palpatine, and it's just pure mania. But no, Kylo turns good, doesn't say a word other than ow, and then gets yeeted off a cliff, who then climbs back up and somehow revives Rey, smooches, makes out, loses his virginity, then dies.
See, the thing is, okay, this goes back to what I was saying about the Force dyad. The Force dyad is literally it's lazy writing to make Rey and Kylo special, and it's lazy writing to undo Anakin's sacrifice to get rid of the Sith. And because balance in Star Wars, it's not about literally 2 Jedi and 2 Sith, because 2 Sith, as we've seen, or even one Sith can really mess with the balance of power with the Force. They literally I don't know if this is canon, but in Legends, Plagueis and Palpatine literally fight the Force itself and win for decades. And
but doesn't the Force dictate what happens?
Well, see, the Force does not fight back in the traditional way of pushing against them. The Force creates the Chosen One to reset the balance, and the Chosen One is always going to reset the balance no matter what happens. The Chosen One will always fulfill their destiny.
I guess Kathleen Kennedy should have picked up on that then, huh?
Kathleen Kennedy, that woman is blind. That woman, that she could not. I don't know.
I don't want her touching the Kenobi series at all. I don't want her even looking at it. I don't want her watching it.
I have a lot of thoughts about Kathleen Kennedy and her just.
Well, we've been going at it for 53 minutes now, so we could probably save that for another episode.
Because getting into Kathleen Kennedy's butchery would be another 2 hours. But the Force dyad, or like I was saying about the Force, the balance is not 2 Jedi, 2 Sith, or 50 Jedi, 50 Sith. The balance is
10,000 Jedi and then 1 Sith.
The balance is Jedi, and then the dark side just exists.
Balance.
Or at least it seems to be Jedi, and then just the dark side exists, because Sith inherently warp and change the nature of the Force and the dark side to be stronger than it actually is. We're not saying we don't need the dark side. The dark side is always going to exist, but regardless of whether they're a Sith or not, the Sith are the problem.
I mean, like Palpatine said, the Jedi can be good, but they can also be, from a certain point of view, they could be evil war criminals.
Everyone in the Clone Wars was a war criminal. Everyone. Literally, there's literally not a single character that wasn't a war criminal.
Especially Mace Windu.
99.
Hey, don't talk about my boy Mace Windu like that.
99.
Oh, 99.
99 was a dumb.
54 minutes, man. That was probably. I think this is our longest episode yet. Jeez.
Yeah.
All right, that about wraps it up. You guys have any final takes, final words, anything you'd like to say before I?
Let's start a petition to fire Kathleen Kennedy.
Let's start a petition to incorporate more Force Skyping into the Star Wars universe. We need it.
Let's start a petition.
Our next podcast will be
the Old
brought
Republic
via Force Skype.
Petition to give full Star Wars rights back to George Lucas,
Supreme Chancellor George Lucas.
Petition to incorporate more Old Republic. That's what I want. I want more Old Republic. I'm glad we didn't talk about the High Republic today. I don't want to touch it.
I want to do an entire. Maybe our next episode could be focused just on the what we would want to see incorporated from the Old Republic. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, thank you guys for listening. If you made it this far, then you get a death stick. If you didn't make it this far, then screw you.
Death sticks are bad.
May the Force be with you all.
May the Force be with you.
Please subscribe. Also, our Instagram. We made an Instagram. I'm in the process of making a Twitter, a Facebook, and pretty soon the podcast will be up everywhere else where you can listen to podcasts. So please stay tuned and have a great day.
Peace.
Peace.